pressing record, and we are going to call the meeting to order at 6:38 p.m. The first item on the agenda is to accept, amend if necessary, and then accept the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments to our agenda?
Well, here's my question. If we're purposely going to skip, let's say, the item A1, separation of glass, because Jean's not here yet, we don't have to really amend the agenda for all that, do we? I mean, can we just come back to it later? I mean, that's no big deal, right?
For a regular meeting, we don't have to amend the agenda. We can change the agenda as we go.
Okay. Because it's just the order of things. Fine.
Yeah.
Have something to add, though.
You have something to add?
Did you? I saw you raise your hand.
I
No?
want to make a motion to accept the agenda as stated.
Wait, can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Let's proceed with the agenda. Third item on the agenda is to review, amend if necessary, and then approve the minutes of the regular meeting from January 20th. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And
I have.
does anyone have any changes?
Yes, comment. I did get an email from Jean Speck, because when she got our meeting notice, she read the minutes and she wanted to have 2 corrections made. I sent those to Wendy, but I don't know if we, all we can do at this point is approve the minutes with the changes that we've already been advised of, or we can wait till Wendy gets on.
You have to tell us what the changes are. You can't just change the minutes without sending
Right.
it to us. So you
Okay.
need to tell us what the changes she would like if they really happened.
Meanwhile, here comes Wendy, but can you, yeah.
All right, while Wendy's coming on, let me see if I can pull up Jean's email.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi,
Wendy.
Meeting went great with the Board of Finance. They love it.
It's already over. No.
Just
That's
Wendy's
gotta be
part,
the-
I assume.
I'm
That's
all
the
done.
most efficient Board of Finance meeting ever. First run.
Right. Okay, I missed some minutes. Oh, Mike, hi there.
And Wendy, you know what? We're actually just at that point in the meeting where we're looking to approve the minutes, and council
First, the agenda was approved, Wendy, by Melissa and Liddy,
Okay, thank you.
and it started at 6:38.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So
I do have, I'm sorry, when you're ready, I do have what Jean had, but let's wait for Wendy.
Okay, I'm all set. Yeah, and I have Jean's corrections. I guess I have to ask you what the right things would have been. Or can you do that for me, Carol? Ask what the
I have
question.
it right in front of me, so
Okay.
I'll just say what she said. She said last month on 6A, Oak Ridge is our hauler, not waste management.
Okay. I'll fix that.
Then she said on part 2, page 2, paragraph 2, she says, I don't recall mentioning that fines are part of the ordinance. I don't think they are.
I don't know where I got
They
that.
are part of I mentioned the fines, and they are part of the
I
ordinance.
mentioned it, but they are. We talked about it.
We talked about it. It was mentioned, whether she mentioned it or
She
not.
didn't mention it, I mentioned it.
Okay,
Okay,
so maybe she just didn't want it that she mentioned it. I don't have the
Right.
original minutes right in front of me, but
okay. Very
Okay.
good. I'll fix that. Yeah.
okay. And 7A, she says, I don't recall speaking out about the POCD or the legislative policy. Maybe that was Connie.
Right.
And I know we talked about the POCD, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
She did talk about
No,
the
she,
POCD,
it
but
says here, Jean Speck said she was not ready to give a report, but that was about something else. It was not about 7A, the POCD. So you should just erase that sentence.
I
Okay.
think that was probably about organics.
Yeah,
Oh, so just remove that.
yeah, just remove that.
Okay, I love that. All right.
I mean, if anything was ever really critical or a crisis, I don't know how long the Zooms of the meeting are on record at town hall, but we don't really have to even think about that. Nothing that we're doing is that critical.
Good.
Okay.
So, and Wendy, in 6A, the town meeting was held on January 12th. You have January TK, So
Oh.
that was 12.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, you mentioned waste management twice, and so that's not correct. That should be the HRA.
Okay,
And then you also say state landfills due to its maximum capacity. The problem was that the incinerator will close. We don't have active landfills anymore.
oh, state
One
incinerators.
of the incinerators will close, and that's the problem.
Okay,
So that's it.
Okay,
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
The minutes as
Yeah.
amended.
Yeah, sorry, minutes as amended. Yep.
want a second? I will second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I,
Hearing none, the motion carries. All right, let's move on. Madam Treasurer.
Treasurer's report, no change from last month. No, we haven't had any bills. We haven't paid anything. Wendy and Yos, I trust you got your checks
I did.
Yes, yeah,
last month.
thank you.
I do have an update on the trail books, but I can wait for that until later.
That's fine. What about, have you been prompted to submit our budget for next year yet?
No, I have not. I'm just if we want to just chat with that for a minute, why don't we just do the same thing again? I mean, with the covering note that obviously we're not able to do an awful lot of our projects, but hopefully in 2022 we will.
I was
I like
wondering
that
if
idea.
you want to put a stipend in our budget for somebody to do sustainable CT.
The way the Board of Selectmen meetings have been going and the way the budget may go, us adding money to it is a not great idea
Yeah.
this year.
I'm just trying to figure out how we're ever going to get that thing done. And it keeps coming back to us, which we can talk about when we get the sustainable CT, if we talk about anything at all. Which we might have. But
I think it's risky to add that this year in light of what's going on. I don't think that's a wise idea.
I think we have plenty in our budget. We can always move something from another item to that.
I also just don't know the logistics of us as a commission hiring somebody. I mean, that seems a little out there, but
Well,
do-
but then why would it be in our budget? Well, that should
right,
be the
exactly.
selectmen's budget.
It's a bad idea. Let's move on.
Mhm.
I would just like to see it get done. Okay. Anything else on the treasurer's report?
Thank you, Liddy.
Okay, so moving on to public comment. I guess technically, Mike, you're a member of the public, if you have any comment.
Oh gosh, he's putting his glasses on for this.
Nothing to add at this time.
Thank you. You can comment in other times in the meeting as well, by the way.
If you
Uh,
put your glasses on.
Okay,
Melissa, why don't you have glasses? Are you the only one?
I have glasses here. Do you want me to put my glasses on?
No, you don't need to.
here we are in the old business, and we've got a couple big categories. Number one is about sustainable waste management. And one, as Carol was indicating, as far as the separation of glass, we think something's happening, but we think Jean knows and none of the rest of us know. So we're going to skip that. Maybe we'll come back to it, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be next month when we get an update.
I just wanted to add to that, the reason I put that on imperatively at this point is when I was at the transfer station on Saturday, they started talking to me about, yes, we are now preparing to separate glass. So something is going on and we'll find out from Jean.
Mhm.
and they're all new signs up.
Well, all
Number-
right, we'll find out from Jean then.
Right. Number two is about the transfer station generally, another find out from Jean. And hopefully the organics composting initiative will get off the ground, but it's again, a find out from Jean. Number three, an update on the Kenton ordinance. It passed. Nobody made any comments. Number four, an update on the Coalition for Sustainable Materials Management. I checked the website today. They still have not released the report that I alluded to in last month's minutes, would be published sometime in February. Not yet. Number 5, Sustainable CT. The Conservation Commission came up at the Select Board meeting when Jean had the selectmen pass the resolution for a second time to do Sustainable CT. So that was passed again, and there has so far been no constitution of a committee to do Sustainable CT. And at that point, Zan Charity asked, why isn't the Conservation Commission doing this? So, you know, I was able to express our willingness to help, but that we didn't feel like we could do it alone. And that's where it is at the moment.
Connie, did you say Zan asked why we were doing it?
No, she asked, why is the Conservation Commission not doing this?
Oh,
I
okay.
think she specifically said, have you consulted with the Conservation
Okay.
Commission about leading the charge?
Well, she thought it was within our,
Purview.
Okay.
she said, shouldn't this be the Conservation Commission? So anyway, you know, I still think we are absolutely willing to help. Don't want to be the only ones working on it, and don't necessarily want to be the leader. So we will see how that develops as time goes.
Is it your sense that other towns have a separate commission for this?
No, I think they're all over the map. You
That's-
know, I think they
okay.
usually have, you know, you need a champion,
Right.
which, you know, could be Jean. You need somebody to do the actual work.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to look at it. I was thinking about, you know, coming to you with some nice package tonight, because I really would love to see this happen. But obviously, you know, I mean, it's time consuming, and I didn't have time to do it over the last month. And I'm not going to know everything, because a lot of the practices are about, you know, municipal purchasing and whether or not people recycle in town hall, and, you know, things that I don't know. So obviously we cannot do it alone. And so we'll see.
Wendy, what is your relationship with Katie Freigang?
You asking me?
Yeah, are you friends with her? I thought you might be friends with her.
I'm sort of friends with her. She's a complicated person. I mean, I tread
Poor thing.
carefully. What do you want? I mean,
Well, because she did it for Cornwall. She was the champion for Cornwall, and I didn't know if, you know, you could ask her how much time it took, what kind of person. No. Okay.
well, I can just tell you that Katie is, her entire life wraps around energy conservation. You know, she's a one-woman band, and but she doesn't do anything else. So, I mean, I can ask her, but there is no person in Kent that I know of who wants to be Katie Freigang. That's the
No, and
problem,
that's what this truly needs, is someone
right.
that has that all-around knowledge.
It's almost a religious dedication.
But it's the knowledge, the all-around knowledge of municipalities and who to ask for what.
Right.
So if someone's already done it, they're going to kind of know the direction to go to ask certain questions that we just don't have the knowledge of.
It
But
would
the
be
first selectman is in a perfect position to
Oh, yeah.
notice, and she's full-time employed there. So she'd be ideal, the leader for this, but. she
For what?
doesn't seem to-
If
To
she
be
has
that
time.
person.
What?
To be that person, Connie.
me.
No.
What?
No,
The
Jean,
selectmen.
for Jean, the first selectman would be
He wasn't
the
there
ideal
for
person.
selectmen, right? Yeah.
Why wouldn't it make sense for, again, this consortium of towns to come up with a single czar and pay them something?
Well, but each town has to inventory their own progress.
Well, maybe they shouldn't. Maybe, you know, it's the old, let's not the good be the enemy of the perfect, or whatever, the perfect be the enemy of the good. You know, I don't think-
Jean knows our request, that she has been on the lookout for a ringleader somewhere, because
Okay.
it's not going to be one of us and it's not going to be the Kent Conservation Commission as a whole.
Right.
So if this is going to go ahead, we're going to have to figure out some other way to do it.
Okay, but that's one way I would suggest looking into, seriously. We're being spread, we're all being spread too thin.
If
No,
there
but
is
just
one person who might be a young person who is home from college or studying for a graduate degree, who is interested in municipal government or the environment, this makes a really nice summer job. They would get to know many, many people in, within a municipality. And so if there's anyone that you run across who might fit the bill for that, even a very responsible high schooler, it takes somebody who has the ability to harness a whole lot of details and keep track of a lot of moving parts.
Well, it could be a paid internship for a student.
I suggested that at one meeting. I can't remember which. I think it might have been a selectmen's meeting, but
What was the reception, Melissa?
it kind of just got glossed over. If it's not said in the right time, it doesn't get absorbed, unfortunately, but it seems so like a super idea for a college or high schooler in an internship position, especially during COVID times when summer jobs are not as easy to find, but they need a little money.
Maybe suggest that again to Jean, because maybe she's looking for someone and maybe this, she'd think that was a good way to handle it.
If we have the right opportunity, sure.
Okay.
Like I said, it has to be the right opportunity or it doesn't get absorbed.
Yeah, I mean, we might be able to find the money for this. We need the person. Let's find the person, and then we'll find the money. We're not talking about a huge expense for anybody who's ever employed a kid during the summer. It's not that expensive.
Is this just a summer job for one summer or is it ongoing?
This could be, so much work could be done on this in one summer. It takes coordination, focus, and the management of many different people.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the Regional Recycling Task Force. And the only thing I think that they're saying on that is that I know that they voted on the posters, and we don't know who the winners are yet. So those will be announced, sometime soon. And typically in Kent, they celebrate the winners, at the time that they're announced, but also on Arbor Day. So maybe we can talk about it, in conjunction with our Arbor Day discussion further down in the agenda.
Did anyone ask you yet to do the poster, or because no one's asked me?
No,
Okay.
I did, but they haven't released the names of the people. They
No,
just-
but I usually get I usually get an alert around now for the Kent Center School person, the one person that they've sent over as our winner.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't
don't-
have that
Okay.
yet. Okay. We're through A. Are we good?
Oh, who agreed to take care of that? You did, Connie?
Of what?
To find the poster, to make the contact? Who's gonna find out who's?
We'll
Who to
get
contact?
contacted.
I get the RRTF emails.
Oh,
So-
okay,
And Anne usually contacts me if they want a poster made.
okay.
So for the next part, under Part B, under legislation, when I listed all these bills, I did not list them for us to intend to discuss each one tonight. It's really just a reference list. But what Melissa sent out, which was very interesting and helpful, was the whole schematic of, how a bill becomes a law. But in that schematic, Melissa, it implied that the only time that we really have input is when the bill is still in committee. I thought there was another time later on when it goes to the full chamber that we have input, but according to that schematic, it doesn't. So I would think that of these bills that we are very interested in, we just have to keep track of when they are up in committee for input, if there's any action necessary from us.
Hearing is when we get to speak. You have to register to speak, or you can submit written testimony.
So but it's, at that point, it's still in committee. It's not on the floor yet. So that's the point that we might want to have input, and that's when we have to really, pay attention.
They're
Yeah.
2 weeks into the committee hearings already. So a lot of them have already come up. For example, vaccinations was 34 hours long hearing, and it was yesterday, so.
So the ones that we have our eye on, and this is sort of a cumulative list, so if there's anything that is not here, we should just add it. But these are the topics that we're interested in and in which our input may be helpful or important. So just take a quick look at the list, and I didn't have the number for the bottle bill. I just could not locate that.
Because it's not, there isn't one yet. I mean, there's a bottle, there is a law.
There's a bunch of bottle bills, as I understand it, which at committee will get mushed into a single one.
So they've been proposed, they just don't have an official number. Is that correct?
I don't think it's gonna move this year, but.
Well, what I was told was that most of what we read, the reason I didn't even summarize this stuff is because I was told that because it's an odd year, most of the bills that are proposed won't even make it anywhere near in committee even,
Okay.
because I didn't send it to everyone, but that schematic that I sent you, Carol, every legislator can propose any bills they want in an odd year. So there's so many bills that something like extending trout season for 3 weeks is not ever going to make it to a table anywhere.
So how do we proceed then as a commission, knowing when we have to have some input? What should we do about this?
So I think that you need to look at the,
Note, and one of them is that we hope to ask Maria and Craig to come and be with us at a meeting soon. And we can ask them what would be helpful. Like, when do we have a chance to, to be influential? And I think one of them is the hearings, but I think that the other way that we can be impactful is, of course, they are our representatives. So when it gets to a point that a bill is on the floor and going to be voted, then we are vocal, not in providing substantive comments, but then we're vocal in saying, this is important to us. We really hope that you vote this in, or, don't vote for this bill. It's a bad one. So we do have kind of, more than one opportunity in the process to.
Okay.
but
So
to hear about the hearings, you need to look on the legislative page, and every day there are a list of which hearings are going on when, and a link to either sign up or watch it. So there's 2 different ways you can participate. You can either just watch, and they're nonstop on YouTube, or you can actually present a hearing in written or in verbal testimony.
different advocacy groups do give notice of the hearings. So I got an email probably from Connecticut League of Conservation Voters week before last saying, and it was really only, these things do come up kind of on short notice, but it was saying, there's going to be a hearing. It's going to be tomorrow. It's for the Environment Committee, and they are hearing a presentation about about unit-based pricing, which is pay as you throw, and about the bottle bill. And it wasn't a presentation about any specific piece of legislation, but it was giving the committee some background on, what these issues are and why they're difficult, and what the considerations are that they have before them. So that was an interesting hearing. I don't think any bills have been proposed yet coming out of that.
And the pay as you throw, again, I think that's still a concept and hasn't even been proposed as a bill. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's this idea. So, going to the CCSMM meetings, the feedback from the towns is that it is very, very difficult to get this kind of a thing passed. Municipality by municipality, it's a loser. We heard from in that hearing that I was talking about, The town of Torrington, they were talking about how they tried to do it, and it was just like the death to like the people, and any elected official is not going to propose a program like this. But what the municipalities were saying is, we truly believe that this will cut costs and make our waste stream management easier, lead to more separation. There are a whole lot of benefits to doing this. We just can't do it on a town by town basis. So if the state would pass legislation statewide mandating us to do it, then it was like, remember when the IGA was like, we totally get you on plastic bags, we just can't do it on our own. But when as soon as the state mandates that we can't have plastic bags, we're totally on board. And of course that was true. That is what is happening with pay as you throw.
So what I wanted to just comment on was that both the bottle bill or bills and the pay as you throw are the main focus of the advertisement that Connie sent us, that I sent everybody in the meeting notice. I didn't put it down. I put it at correspondence at the bottom, but it's the Connecticut Recycling Conference, which is going on the 25th. And basically it seemed that that's the main forum, as those two topics. So for a moment then, as long as it's up, we should, to save time later, that if anybody, Connie, you were suggesting that if anyone here wanted to attend that, it is a $50 registration fee.
But we could pay for people to go. So there are other places where you could get this information. I felt that having gone to the CCSMM meetings that it would be repeat for me. But for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to learn about these, or even potentially take a deeper dive into them, certainly the commission would support that person's attendance at the conference.
So it's Thursday, February 25th from 12 to 4.
And where is it? Oh, it's online, huh?
It's a Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Oh,
You don't go anywhere anymore, Wendy.
I know.
The
I've been vaccinated. I'm going everywhere.
The box bill is really interesting. There are so many different things that influence it, and this is why it ends up going nowhere. And, for example, I was really surprised to hear that callers hate it, because if you remove more, plastic bottles and glass bottles and cans, things that are easy to recycle, things that are easy to separate out of the waste stream from single stream, then there's less for them. And what they're trying to do is have more, like to make their contracts work, they need more recyclable materials. And so the bottle bill actually removes those recyclable materials from the waste stream, so they don't want that. And so, and then there's, the whole handler's fee, that we don't ever see. We pay the deposit, we know how it works when we redeem the deposit, but there's a middleman, in the handler, and so that is politically charged as well. So there's so many issues that make it not nearly as easy as it seems like it would be to just make more things, increase recycling by making more things redeemable for a deposit.
So let's go on to see.
Okay, so there's no bottle bill. The anaerobic digesters, trout fishing, fisheries funding, and farmland solar siting. Melissa on the inside track with Maria Horn was kind of giving the heads up, like, I don't think these are going anywhere. Right now, they're not anywhere. So, let's leave them on. But know that, none of them really seem to have a really good chance of passing or going anywhere. The 5G as well, and pay as you throw, as we discussed, is not even a proposed bill yet. There are a couple that I can add just for our own tracking, and these are bills that I was made aware of through both the CLCC, which is Connecticut Land Conservation Council, so it's a land trustee organization, and CTCLV, the Connecticut League of Conservation Voters. I said that wrong. I said the letters wrong. Anyway, So HB House Bill 6441 is the Climate Change Mitigation Act. Looks like there's going to be a hearing on that, I think, soon. Amy Patterson said that they thought the public hearing would be within the next couple of weeks. Why do we care? It's mostly about the establishment of these municipal water authorities, like stormwater management, which I don't know is a huge priority in Kent. But it also has, as part of that climate change mitigation bill, this Buyer's Conveyance Act, which, if you remember from prior years, gives municipalities the ability to, but does not force them to, take a small cut of, place a buyer's conveyance tax on property transfers, and that the pooled income, the pooled monies from that would be available for the municipality to fund land conservation, so additional land protection, stewardship activities, and what's new coming out of the GC3 is it could also be used for climate mitigation strategies. So invasive species control, for example, some infrastructure improvements. So we will see if it goes anywhere. I personally think the buyer's conveyance tax would be a great tool, costly, but beyond that, if the state passes it, it doesn't really mean that it's mandatory for Kent to participate in that either. So it's just kind of a good tool to be able to add to the toolbox for those municipalities that are inclined to use it. That's HB 6441. And then Senate Bill 887 is the bond package, which CLC is following closely because it includes the authorization of $5 million for the open space and watershed acquisition grant. That is the major way that land trusts across our state preserve large parcels of land that are probably more expensive than than what they bought in their asset reserves. So OSWA has been a super important program. In Kent, it was the program that helped the Camp Francis get preserved into these as well as some other projects. But anyway, and in addition to OSWA, the bond package has $3 million for the recreational trails program, which is a state program that hasn't always been funded. And when it is always put to really good use in development of recreational trails for the public.
So Connie, for my list for next month, under bond package, just give me a title. What is it called?
It's Senate Bill 887.
Yes. Does it have a title? I mean, I don't want to say bond package. What's it about?
Bond package. I don't know. That's what she called it, and that is not in all. It's not in
Got it.
top.
Okay.
So, maybe you could go to the look up the act and see what they're calling it.
Okay.
And then CT, the Connecticut League of Conservation Voters talked about the governor's budget, of course. And if the budget passes, there's language in there that is very strong on the governor's commitment to climate mitigation and resilience. So things to watch.
So what kind of legislation is most likely to pass this year?
Well,
The
Yes,
environment?
you said about the trout fishing, but to me, that was one of the big deals with COVID last year is they moved up the trout season so that more people could find enjoyment outside. So I'm
It
thinking
doesn't take legislation to do that though, Connie. That
Right.
doesn't take, all it takes is Katie Dykes saying, we're going to open it and we're going to do it on a year by year basis. So that to make it legislative kind of takes the science out of it for me. I think there's a reason that the DEP has that control
Is there something else in the bill then that other than just changing the timing?
no, it's going to open trout season. At least the way it's written right now, it said it was going to open trout season year round. And right now it closes March 1st and opens the second weekend of April.
But you're saying that it doesn't need to have a bill to do that. So why is there a bill?
To make it permanent, it would need to be a bill, but the DEP can do especially during COVID times, the DEP can make any decision they want on the opening of trout season, as far as I understand.
Sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, there are just so many trout, for God's sake.
So getting back to Yosa's question though, because we already know that we don't think that one is moving.
Okay.
Do you get any hints from Maria? I mean, non-conservation stuff, right?
Yeah, right now, her focus, I think, would be definitely on the committee that she chairs, and but I think that she thinks that the bottle bill, she really wants to stand behind. She really wants to get it to a place where it can get voted on. Whether that happens during this short session, probably not.
Maybe I should interject here to say that the Western Connecticut Clean Air is going to be asking Maria to promote some more money for future research. And I would hope the Conservation Commission, which is the mother of this organization, in a way, would also favor that. So I have to get in touch with Maria and find out how she wants me to present this, but we got 20,000 from the legislature 2 years ago. And as you remember, it went the wrong place and took us some time to get it in use, but it would go to the University of Connecticut again to fund what they're doing.
So this funds for 1 year, this 20,000?
Well, it served us it's covering 2 years of work, but it'll come to an end sometime this summer when they will have done their first full report. So, we might not need it all, but we're going to ask for that.
Okay, well, let's keep an eye out also for bills that are, looking to reduce or prohibit styrofoam and, some of the perennials that have been coming up. I haven't seen them yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get the, what is it, PFAS, do you know what I'm talking about?
That has a good chance of passing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
don't
pretty
think
hot at
it's
the moment.
Yes, I mean, we have to.
But
look for-
per and polyfluoroalkyl substances.
So we'll look for those. Does anyone have an opinion on when the appropriate time to ask Maria and Craig to join us for a meeting would be? Session ends in May, is that right? So
Yeah, I think so. But I don't think, I personally think it probably shouldn't be. I think that while they're voting is a good time to have an influence. I don't know if they'll speak at that
maybe
point.
April.
Just try it. They may say no.
Well, if you'd like, I can make the invitation and I can say we'd love to have you join us in either March or April. And that way, if March is not available, it gives another choice and we're not, cut up short if we wait until April and then it doesn't work.
Well, how about asking her when she thinks the information she's going to impart to us would be more useful? I mean, if we need to know sooner in order to get our opinions expressed, let's do it sooner, not later. But she'll know better than we do when that.
That can be part of the invitation. And and frankly, if there's something that really needs support, and we haven't met yet, maybe there is a way that we can
Okay.
discuss and decide. But I will ask that question in the invitation.
But what are you envisioning? Was your plan to have Maria, have both of them here at the same meeting?
You won't get,
Two.
who's the both? You mean the other representative?
No, we
Yeah.
have to ask Craig and Maria. I think.
Oh.
So, but your plan was, you were thinking that both Craig and Maria would be on the same meeting with us, the same Zoom.
Maybe, but not necessarily. But
Okay.
it would probably be most expedient for us to do it that way, because then we don't have to devote 2 months worth of meetings to doing that. But let's see, and let's see what their thoughts are. I mean, here we are on Zoom, we could easily just say, "Oh, come at 7, and that way we could take care of our business first or something like that. So I'm going to begin the conversation. Again, the whole purpose of this would be to make ourselves known to our representatives, our priorities known, and then to hear back from them about what it is that we can do to help them represent us.
Well, I agree with Liddy. Then let's try for next month and take it from there.
It could also be a special meeting with that being the only agenda item. We're
Oh,
not going to take
please,
action
please.
on it, so it doesn't mean anything. It's an informative, and we would want the public to come. So
True.
I wasn't thinking of this as a public meeting. I was thinking about this as our conversation as the Kent Conservation Commission with our 2 representatives.
Why don't we see what develops?
Okay,
I don't know if anyone ever has asked for this with them before. So, I think
okay, you're
let's
on.
keep an open mind and see what these ideas are.
By the way, I think Greg Miner is a big fan of bear hunting in Litchfield County. That's one of the bills that's brought up. So,
That's been every year,
Yeah.
every year, and it's
so if you're against bear hunting, you may tell him that.
it's not up this time, though. He did not bring it up this time.
No, so I saw somebody else's name was on it, but he has been. a
He didn't
big
endorse it
proponent
this
of
time, though.
So,
Why don't we go on to item C?
sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Kent Trails, Hiker's Guide. I heard in a prior meeting today that Daryl went and picked up a whole bunch of bags for Chamber of Commerce. So
More than I do. You've turned into his daily. You've got him today. He's yours.
well, Liddy probably knows. Liddy, do you know, have we been asked to print more?
Yes. But I want to do this in a certain order. Melissa, you looked at the most recent list that was 100 addresses and you thought that was pretty good?
I'm not sure when the last time I got a list, honestly, at this
I
point.
sent you one a couple of weeks
Oh.
ago.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
looked at it too. It
And
seemed
that
reasonable.
that still seems to be the one they're working off. So, okay, so we still think relatively good. Then let's see. The chamber distributed 40 books initially, and they're distributing now another 50. And then they want to distribute another 22. Now that doesn't add up to the full number of addresses on that list, so I really can't tell what they're doing. However, I think the most important thing at this point is, does the Kent Land Trust, the Wiantnag and KCC want to pay another $72 a piece to pay for the rest of the books that they seem to want? They seem to want another 34 books. Sorry,
KLT would pay.
24 books. KLT will pay. How about NCLC?
I'd need to I know that we did a lot of running around about this when we first
Right.
initially considered it, but I do want to put it out there that KLT would split the cost with NCLC so that there was no cost to KCC if
Oh.
and still give KCC top billing. So I just want to put it out there. That is the deal I'm offering. No money for KCC if that's what you want.
Oh, I
Well,
was
we have
figuring
enough
that we
money in
would
the cooker
divide it by
fund.
3.
for this.
I'm sorry, yours?
We have enough money in the cooker fund. We can contribute.
Yeah.
I
We can-
still
we
want to
can-
look at the Kuga fund. I don't think we should be taking out money of the Kuga fund without just defining what the Kuga fund.
No,
how it
I
gets
wasn't suggesting that, Melissa. I was suggesting that KCC out of our operating budget put money into the Kuga to pay for our third of the books.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And
Made
if
sense
there's
to me. I thought that's what we were talking about with the first distribution.
That is what we did, the first distribution,
Right.
because of what the commission wanted to do. But, just to, if there's any question about the fairness here, marketing wise, it is an absolutely legitimate expense for the Kent Land Trust to do, and we don't mind doing it.
Yeah,
Well, then I think you all need to figure out, how do you want to do this? Do you want KCC to take a third, or do you want to split it between Kent Land Trust and Northern Connecticut, whatever that NCLC is?
If KCC is okay with us splitting the costs, I would approach NCLC and ask them to.
I have a question. I just have a question. So let's just go back for a minute. So I heard that there are now 50 bags that are on their way out. So on those 50 bags, they already have our book and we have already paid for that. And
Not,
I assume that those books also had the same, Connie had done a beautiful letter. Did that go out with that in those 50 bags?
yes, yes.
Okay, so that's all been paid for. So now what we're looking at is 22 or more or less bags for the future, which probably will end the whole thing. And what we're discussing right now is whether or not we want KCC to pay for a third of that. And that's really what we're discussing.
I
Yes.
don't think this is gonna end the whole thing, so I would take that thought out. I think this is an ongoing, continuing thing, long-term. And so I think we need to come up with a formula that works into perpetuity of sorts.
Then I think we ought to keep it a third, a third, a third.
I do too.
I
mean,
like a
after
third,
all,
a third. I
it's-
like a third, a third, a third.
Yeah.
And I don't know in the future if every year that many houses are gonna turn over. I think what they did is they did a whole look back to, and that's why the numbers were so big. And we also in the future can change our mind, but I think for the next 22, let's at least go ahead with the model that we're using.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
They did go back. They went back to sales in 2019. That kind of surprised me, but anyway, they did. So, okay, so we're okay with staying with a third, a third, a third?
Yeah,
And then Connie, do you want to contact NCLC? Because I think you did last time.
Sure.
And that it would be another check for $72 at this point.
Okay. Okay.
Terrific, that'd be great. Then my next question is, we need more books for us. The House of Books has been selling them like hotcakes. And,
Yay, terrific.
exactly. I mean,
so who
with-
are they still selling them to?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I
but-
think the word has really got out about how wonderful the books are. And also everybody is out enjoying the trails because it's one of the things you can do. And we're all in favor of that.
Yeah,
Right. But so many people got books already.
yeah, I mean, if all the new people in town have gotten books, and I don't know,
Maybe also people from out of town. Like
well, that
from
could be,
Iceland.
and maybe you walk into it's one of the least expensive items in the House of Books. I don't know.
So
However,
Liddy, what are you suggesting for us? What do you advise?
I'm suggesting that we print another, what's my number here? Another 50.
Can
That
we-
will, that's not just for us, that will take care of the 22 that they need, plus give us an inventory of, 30 books if they're for. Because House of Books has already asked me when we have another batch printed, could they have another 20 books?
Wow.
So.
So is that enough? Are we?
Maybe it's not, maybe I should do more.
No, I think before you do more, Lydia, I think we should replenish, make sure that House of Books has some stock. But I do think that maybe it is a good time, with the transfer of Iron Mountain Preserve to look at taking the maps and updating the logos on them.
Well,
And
that's the point.
I
That's the
think
point. We
they're
put that
from-
off. That's good.
NCLC told me they don't care if this happens in conjunction with their kiosks. I don't know what their timing is on that. And in
I'm
fact,
sorry, in conjunction with their what?
their kiosks. They
Oh,
haven't
oh.
transferred their kiosks over from Weantonog to NCLC. And so we were thinking maybe they would want to do that timing together. they said, don't worry about the kiosks. In fact, for them, we shouldn't worry about the maps because they don't use the maps on their website or their kiosks. They use, maps that look like a GIS map, which is their choice. That doesn't mean that their logo shouldn't go on the maps that John has drawn that represent their properties. And so it will be easy enough to make that substitution. But I think that we should update the logos before we do another really big printing. Let's do a few so that House of Books has it. We don't want anyone to run out,
Right.
but we can make that change
Okay.
over.
Okay, so I'll just print 50 more. That'll take care of the rest of the chamber and the House of Books and give us maybe 15 or so left for us. Okay. When you're thinking about changing the logo, if there are any maps that need to be updated, I mean, even though NCLC doesn't use the trail book maps, the trail book maps should be accurate. So if they're making changes, it would be nice if they let us know.
I don't know that they've made any changes to their trails. I think that there will be changes and that, so like, for example, there's a good chance that there'll be a new trail in the Tobin Preserve after this summer. But I just think that that's going to be a moving target, no matter.
No, I'm sure it will be, but we just ought to be in the loop when they do make changes so that we can try to be accurate.
Sure.
Okay. That's it for the trail books.
All right. POCD revision. Wendy, I know you're going to groan, but I really think we need to do a special meeting on this.
Say that again.
I think we need a special meeting on the POCD.
So I read in the minutes of the special meeting that the Planning and Zoning Commission had, that they were going to ask the Conservation Commission for updated information on protected open space and some other things. So I don't know if HVA has that ready or if I need to get that ready. I was planning to work on that this winter, but I don't know what HVA has so far.
HVA should have an up-to-date layer of protected property intent, and they can give. They typically do contract with the town for the POCD maps.
But also like the percentage of protected open space and so.
Yeah, Stacy can crunch that pretty quickly, just by, running a query. But I think that our Conservation Commission probably should give it the attention that it deserves. And I think we should do that in the form of a special meeting. So
What's the deadline on it? What time frame are we talking about here?
I don't really know.
2022.
Oh.
Next year it has to be published. That's all.
P&Z has been doing special meetings like every other week. They're going, through it very methodically. I think I already mentioned in our meeting that there are a couple of places where I saw, some deficits and things that are not covered. And then, Kent's a different place than it was 10 years ago. And I think it really deserves our consideration. So.
And there are a lot of action items, and we really have to check which action items have been acted on and in what way, and that has to be described, and which ones have not been acted on, why not, should they be dropped, or should we really do something more about those, including a lot of short-term action items that just haven't been addressed at all. So should they be addressed or don't we care anymore?
Connie, in your plan of our doing a special meeting, for our to prepare in advance for that, are you thinking that we would be working as a committee of the whole? Would we be dividing the document up? I guess by the time we have a special meeting, we should have some framework of what we're going to address. What do you suggest that we do in the meantime? And when do you want to have the special meeting?
Right, so I printed out today the POCD, 2 pages per page, because it's 58 pages long. And, you know, I have to make sure that this would actually make sense, but my thought is that, you know, we would divvy it up and have each, you know, have a separate person report on, you know, on specific sections of the POCD. But, you know, because it's the plan of conservation and development, there are probably huge areas where, you know, we wouldn't opine at all. So I just have to figure out what makes sense. But that's what I would like to see, is more of a collaborative reporting out and suggestions from the person who handled that component of it. And then, you know, a discussion so that we can capture all of the ideas and then go back. So, and I think that I'd like to just, you know, limit the meeting maybe to 2 hours. We could get structured with the agenda so that, look, if we can do it under 2 hours, that's fine too, don't panic. But, you know, we would know that we weren't going to spend more than a certain amount of time on, you know, on each section. So that it's pretty controlled.
And
Now-
just in terms of logistics, when you decide that you want to call the special meeting, I'm then calling it as a special meeting through the town so that it gets advertised, but we don't really want to have it be understood as it's open for everybody to come and have input. I mean, how does, when you said that other groups have had special committee meetings, well, HVA is not a municipality organization, you know, but
If there's no public comment on the agenda, then public can't comment and we can't change the agenda. So it's however the person running the meeting runs it, but the
Okay.
public is invited. The public can come into
Okay.
any Zoom.
so it would just, when you want to do it, we just then call it as a special meeting.
Right.
And we can't change the
And we
agenda.
have this very specific agenda. You're right, Melissa, and it's all fine. Okay, whatever. Got it.
So, I mean,
Mike has a question.
I just wanted to throw in a plug that I think it may be possible to make a really forceful economic argument in favor of conservation in light of some of the real estate things that happened in the town. I mean, why did all these people want to come here recently? It's conservation. So I would think that that would be something to focus on.
yeah, that was exactly the subject of a committee meeting that I was on for the Kenton Fest just earlier today, is that there's a vibe in town. It's been a huge influx of people and they're here because of, you know, the natural attributes of Kent that make it such a wonderful place. And it's a great community. I mean,
Well, that's why the House of Books is selling all our trail books.
To Mike's point, though, the flip side is the development, and people need to have the communication abilities, whether it be connectivity or whatnot, to stay. So
Right.
we need to have that flip side of what do we need to offer them in order to stay.
there's a whole body of science now that exists around climate science that wasn't present 10 years ago and is better understood. And I think that more than ever before, this idea of conservation and development in a plan as not being like dichotomous but complementing each other is an opportunity for our town. And that's why I really think it deserves our attention. Let's not just, you know, kick the can down the road another decade. So I'm assuming that we're going to do a Wednesday. I was looking into the future. You know, next Wednesday is fine. Wednesday the 3rd is fine. I could really do any Wednesday, and we would start at the same time. Does anyone have any, you know, strong feelings for one over the other? Do you not want to meet 2 weeks in a row?
Next Wednesday would be better for me than the following because of Scouts, because they're meeting right now, so I don't want to miss 2 in a row.
Yeah, next Wednesday's okay with me.
Okay
Oh,
with
wait a
me.
minute, that's the 24th? Oh, okay, yeah, the
Next
24th.
Wednesday, there's also a Northwest Hills Cork webinar on affordable housing. But I been thinking of attending that, but it's not necessary.
Are we good on next, can we do next Wednesday?
Works for me.
Yeah, I guess.
And Vera to read this thing so that so that we have a direction, which is good.
Connie, maybe you said it, but are we're going to get the text of of the current POCD
It's
I-
online on the town
Yes.
website.
Yeah, you
online?
can get it online. I did convert it from a PDF to a Word document so that if we wanted to make comments directly into it, we could.
Okay,
I don't know if that's useful to you or not, but I promise to you that by Sunday, I will come back with an email suggesting how we should approach.
okay.
Okay,
So your Word document is how many pages?
58.
the whole thing is 58 pages long.
So double-sided, we're okay, right? Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, the first couple of pages are table of contents and pictures. And the last portion of it is, tables, appendices type things. So, it's not,
Okay, so Connie, once you're sure about next Wednesday, I need to have a little lead time to get an official notice out and an agenda. I can work with you on that, of what that agenda would say, because that has to go to the town a certain number of days in advance of having the meeting.
yeah, let's develop that so we can get the notice out by like Friday or something like that. Do you think?
Okay.
Time, I think it's.
That's fine. All right, so you and I will communicate about that. Everyone else trusts Connie and I to come up with the agenda for that meeting?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay,
Are you
so we'll do
expecting
that
us-
so that the notice could go out
In
and then we
general.
can have it.
Are we each supposed to print out our own, or why don't they do this down at town hall? And that's a
Well,
lot of printing.
I have a paper copies. There must still be paper copies available.
Yeah, there must,
But I have the old one from 10 years ago on my shelf, so you probably all have it someplace.
Yeah,
But what I will do is send you the Word version of this. So, some people work well on paper and others are okay with just reading it. If you can't print it out, for yourself, read it on the screen and make your comments directly into the document, and that will, help to move it forward.
Well, Mike Benjamin started teaching me how to do that. I remember when we had a Word document, you introduced me to that. So I'll get on, I'll figure it out.
Very
Let's-
good.
Let's see where we get to. And now let's move on to our April programming. So I think that I am going to, let's take each thing in turn. Liddy, anything on the litter cleanup?
No, I was just thinking that as I did last year, I'd send out an email to the entire email list that I have and just ask people to take that week and go do their own pickup.
Is there a way that we can collect the names of people that did it? I mean, we don't have to get super policy about it.
No, I could ask them to get back to me and tell me. I'll
And then
try
if
that.
you could give them some recognition in Jean's email, on our social, and in
Right.
media.
Well, I do have the roads that they've cleaned up other times. Whether or not that's the same area that they do this time, I can ask them to tell me.
Do people need bags and gloves and all that? Do we need to set up a table and do like a contactless pickup type of thing like Jennifer did in Bridgewater?
We could, if you think it's wise.
I mean, I have no problem helping with that if you want to do something like that. Have a certain amount of hours that people come to the front of town hall, to the lawn, and come pick up the supplies that they might need.
If you want to, we can certainly do it.
I would be into that.
Okay.
That idea.
could we do it in front of the IGA? We might get additional people signing up.
Good point, Wendy. I like it.
I mean,
Okay.
you're only going to
We'll
get
have to-
people.
Yeah, we'll have to do that significantly ahead of time though, so that, let me think about the timing on that.
All right.
and
Because I
do
gotta order the bags,
transportation.
get them in hand, and then figure out when we can distribute them. Get the people to tell us what they're planning on doing, and then go forward. Okay.
Do the new transfer station attendants have to be made aware of what?
Yes, we need to do that.
Who is the new guy in charge over there? Do we know? They
I
were
don't know.
interviewing, but we don't know who it is.
As of was it last week, Melissa, that select board meeting was? I think it was last week.
Tuesday, right? Last Tuesday?
They still hadn't hired anyone yet. But they said they were close.
Okay. Well, whoever it is who's sort of running things over there, we ought to let them know what we're doing and when the bags may turn up.
Right.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then Earth Day is April 22nd. So the proposed library program would probably be before KCS's Arbor Day, which is April 30th, right? So why don't we go to that one next and talk about the library program?
Okay, I did reach out to Lori. I haven't heard back from her or had the chance to really work out details with her, but that would be the way we would hope to go. But I need to get that all resolved because the library works way in advance also in their time schedule. So Connie, go ahead again with the date that you think would be the appropriate one.
It's April 12th through 16th is the vacation days.
So,
That's spring break.
okay.
14th is the Wednesday, which would be, that would be, you know, traditional.
Okay, that's helpful. That gives me something,
Yeah, I have to look because there's two conferences Lori has signed up students to do. I think they're on the 14th and the 15th, but I'll have to look that up. In case you're not aware, there was an incident on campus yesterday and Lori's had a lot to do yesterday. Someone passed away on campus yesterday and Lori gave CPR and it was a pretty.
Oh, my.
eventful-
All right, then I'm not going to bother for a couple days.
Give her some time. Yeah, give her some time. She's
Oh,
having-
thank you for advising. Oh, how sad, tragic. Okay.
there were students that witnessed it all too. So it was a busy week, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So hopefully April 14th would be our day. If not,
Well, actually, Melissa, if you could look up from your sources, the days, because if in fact there are conferences that she's already set, then I can think about a different day, but let's not bother her, right? If you could let me know.
I'll get back to you, Carol. That would be great.
Okay, great.
and Carol, we're talking about a Zoom program at this point. Is that what?
Oh, it
we're-
has to be. Absolutely.
Okay. Because I think that, at some point, we were talking about whether or not there would be complimentary offerings and, whether there was an.
Let's keep it simple. Go for the Zoom. It'll be rich.
So I think that is, well,
I think we can do a complimentary thing with KLT that'll mesh together, but it won't put anyone in an uncomfortable position that they want.
Oh, okay.
well, what I was really getting at is that if we do that, Zoom can really be anytime at all, except that if we really wanted to provide some diversion during that school break, that during the day on the 14th is probably a really good time. But, being, if we had to pick a different day at a different time when kids wouldn't be in school, that wouldn't be the end of the world.
But it's definitely during the day for children. It's a children's program.
Right.
Yeah.
What I mean is during the day, if it can't be on the 14th or it can't be in that week when they're off from school, then during the day could be 4 o'clock for children, but you wouldn't want to do a children's program at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 if school was in session because you'd lose.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, let's aim for that week. Let's see what happens.
Okay. And then Arbor Day, is anyone tapped into what they're doing yet? I haven't made any outreach. Does anyone know?
No, usually N-Star will contact me. So I suppose I'll hear from her soon. Otherwise, I'll contact her and find out what they're planning to do.
And that's pretty much the same time Anstar contacts me for the poster. Like it's all, I'm sure it's all in limbo at this point as to what they're gonna be able to do.
Mhm.
They're not
Yeah.
having meetings in the gym, so it's obviously not that.
They're not gonna do that. They can't gather everyone together outside to plant a tree. They could plant the tree and have classes come one at a time.
What do you guys think about just contacting, like I did last year, contacting the, getting the seedlings and I mean, we could even pay for them ourselves and make our bags ourselves if we wanted, and every kid gets a tree to bring home and plant.
I like it. I like it. You know, who else? Last year, John Grant, because of his involvement with Bartlett Tree, I think it is, got a whole bunch of trees. Remember, there was this whole idea that we would walk over to the pavilion afterwards, and you know, COVID kind of interfered with Arbor Day last year too.
When was
But-
that for? That wasn't Arbor Day, because we gave every kid a tree for Arbor Day, and I did it directly with Bartlett. When was
Yeah,
that?
that was
I
another time.
think it was maybe cleanup. Like, I think there was an idea that we were gonna involve people in cleaning up the Commons Park. And they would walk over from school to Penn Commons Park, do whatever they were gonna do, and then get a tree at the pavilion. I think that was it. Anyway, whatever it was, doesn't really matter. I think that what I mean is, if we needed help, we might be able to get trees from Bartlett. And work with Penn Park and Rec, you know, which, you know, makes a nice partnership as well.
I mean, I highly doubt they're gonna want the poster this year, so we have a good chunk of money that we could use to pay for the trees ourselves, and we made those, Liddy, I think you made those signs, those little post-it things for me, didn't you? Or no,
I don't think
Nancy
I
did.
Yeah.
What's that? Nancy did. So I think we could work with the garden club and do something ourselves with, we have some money, like,
Is
Yeah.
anyone else having issues with the audio?
I
Say it
hear
again?
Wendy coughing. Oh. I don't know. Can you hear me now? No?
Yeah, no, we can hear you, Melissa. I just.
Melissa,
Connie, what did you-
remind me, last year, every child in Kent Center School got a seedling?
Yeah, I got donated in a reusable bag,
I saw they were, and I remember the bag was gorgeous.
a seedling. They had gloves in there, they had a cape in there, they had all kinds of fun things and directions on how to plant it, and it was from the garden club in KCC.
What could be better? It's fabulous.
You know, if Bartlett won't do it for us, I think we could afford to do maybe not just as nice, but you know, we could do pretty much the same kind of.
Do we know if the
Okay.
kids actually planted them?
There were a lot of positive feedback on our social media.
Good.
So I would, you know, it was a little different. They weren't in school, Liddy. They were delivered by the school bus, reverse delivery with their meals. So, you know, comparing it, I don't know how we even. It was
That's what
different.
I thought. So it only went to those children
Nope.
who get the meals.
Nope,
wasn't
I
the
ended
whole-
up, no, I set up, Darlene and I set up a tent at town hall, and everyone who didn't get a
Oh,
meal
right.
got theirs pickup. They had to come get it at town hall, but they got it. We ran out.
What kind of money are we talking about?
I would have to price it out, but you know, we have quite a bit of money that we haven't spent, so I don't think that, you know, if a seedling was maybe, I don't know, how much do you think a seedling is? You buy them in bulk, so they're probably like, I'm sorry, Stella's having a.
Couple of dollars.
I don't even think they're $5 when you buy them in bulk. Get over here.
Does each one come in a cup with earth around it or what?
They were in a bag, the ones that Bartlett gave me. They were each in their own bag, had directions in them, and then I put the bags inside the shopping bags and put all the notes in them.
So how many did you get, Melissa?
I'd have to look back at my notes, but I'm pretty sure we got 100. But I'd have to look at how many students are at school now. We'd want one for every student.
Right.
How cool is that? That's terrific.
I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want to do that, then we can easily make it happen. And I feel like we're
Well, why don't you see what Bartlett's got?
sure. I want to see how many students we are at this point, and then
And you'd pick a native tree, I suppose?
well,
Hopefully.
Bartlett gave us. I want to say they were oak.
I
It was
think
oak
so.
or maple, and I think I said it was something, and then it was the other last year. I'd hate no, just to you guys. I would hate to like
Oh.
say it straight out and be like, oh yeah, no, it was that. Connie's
Well,
having a
oaks
hard
are
time
always
with her sound.
Yeah, she
Connie
lost
is-
herself.
She's trying to get back in.
Okay,
But I think Yosa's point, native tree is really important.
yeah,
Oh, of course. And Bartlett was very aware of that. If we do it on our own, we'll research it and pick out something native, of course.
And was there also information with it, what these trees were important
Yep.
for and so?
Yep.
then
So
was
they
it-
had, Bartlett had information, and then Nancy Schaefer and I worked up a card and we put that in.
Mhm, good.
So, because it was from the
Northwest
Garden Club
Conservation
and
District might have access to trees in bulk.
who?
Mhm.
You cut
Northwest
out.
Conservation District up in Torrington.
Yeah, they do it in April.
Well, yeah, they have that, but the,
So, yeah, I wonder if you can combine with them. But that's another option.
Hey, guys, I'm back.
okay.
You're all in one now.
We near the
yeah,
end
you're all in
here,
one.
Carol?
What happened? What's different?
Carol, you're going to
my-
bring us to an end here soon?
Yes,
My phone lost the meeting, so I had to like reconnect. But I put a message in chat, but I wasn't sure if you all would see it.
no, I did.
Okay,
I read it.
it seems like we're through Arbor Day, at least a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. So F is an update on Western Connecticut Clean Air Action.
Well, as I mentioned, we're going to ask for some more money, but in the meantime, we've sent descriptions of what we've done and where we're going to all the selectmen in every town and to the Kent Land Trust and anybody else who wants to know. And I guess you all got a copy of the report too, didn't you?
I didn't.
Yeah, you
Report,
sent it.
thank you.
I sent it out yesterday. And I didn't send the whole communication that Wendy had prepared, but I just sent Dr. Wagstrom's report so that you could at least read it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
the
it-
re-
What was
the rest of my
date?
note was simply to remind people who've forgotten about us, what we've been doing for 2 years.
What was
how
the
we got
date of
started.
the report?
Yos, I'm sorry, say it again. I couldn't hear
What
you.
was the date of Dr. Wagstrom's report? Because I was mentioning that most of the monitors were not up yet. They were going to be put up in the.
Oh, well, she's going to have a preliminary report in March and then a more
Right.
complete one, I guess, in May.
But was this something she wrote like a couple of weeks ago or just now?
This was a response I got from her a week and a half ago.
Okay,
Yeah, we're having our annual, take the old sensors out and recalibrate everything. So at the moment, not much is visible, but she has ways of filling in the gaps, so that's not a problem. So,
okay.
Okay, moving on to the Green Bank. And Wendy, you have an update that is fresh off the press from earlier
Yeah.
tonight.
yeah, the school board presented to the Board of Finance the fact that they are going to get their roof done with solar. And they're going to be able to use the new roof, so it isn't going to have to wait for the old roofs to be replaced. They can put all the solar panels they need on the new portions of the roof, which is very good. And Board of Finance, when I listened to them, seemed to be very, very pleased that this was happening. And so it's all good.
Great.
And
Congratulations.
when is the new roof supposed to go in?
I think the new roof is something they're going to be doing in 2022, maybe. But this program gets in just under the line. I don't think the Green Bank has secured funding for next year. So the fact that they are on board now is, along with several other schools in the region. So that will afford them some reduction in costs of installation because they'll get one company to do all of them. Anyway, it's all just good.
But so the timing is going to work out?
Yeah, yeah.
Bravo, Wendy. Bravo, Wendy.
Well,
Really?
the credit goes to the Conservation Commission. That's the way we've been presenting it all along. So we all have halos.
So in the future, at some point, when the roof is there and the solar panels are there, at that time, we could look at some sort of education component about that it's there and what it's doing. And it's kind of
Sure.
coincidence. It happens to be on a school, so.
Right. Yeah, there's lots of data that can be extrapolated for people's personal use for residential, not through that program, but something else.
By
Mike,
that
does
time,
Kent School
climate
have
change
any?
education will be mandated. So that's another thing coming out of GC3 is that, our schools will have that in the curriculum. So it'll be really nice to have a real life example so close by.
Great.
Mike, does Kent School have any?
Yes, there are a couple of moderate installations, and I have plans to be a pain in the neck about expanding that sometime in the not too distant future.
Has Marvelwood got theirs up yet and running?
The permit, it was on the zoning meeting just on Thursday for asking for, getting permit. I don't know I didn't ask what the, if it got solved or if they have to go back again. I don't know.
For me, the real test is going to come in March when I get a statement after the first year of how many kilowatt credits the Eversource has to pay me back. I have no idea whether I'm going to get $10 or $1,000. I don't know quite how it works, but
You're going to share with us though, right? So that you can tell us
I
how it
will
worked out,
absolutely
right?
tell
Not
you
share
how-
the money, like you're going to share the data so we know
Right.
how it worked for you.
No, I understand. I have about 800 kilowatt hours surplus at the moment, whatever that's worth.
Hey, Wendy, we've had collectors for quite a while now, and what happens is when you build up a surplus like that, they buy them from you for peanuts.
Oh, I know. It's not great.
It's not nice. It's not nice.
It's they sell you kilowatts at $10. What is it? Point
Whatever it is.
109, and they sell it back to you at $5, or I mean they buy it
Less.
from you at $5.
It's the wholesale cost without all the fees they throw on the top. It's like
Right.
3 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah,
But
it's about 3
in
cents.
the end, you feel virtuous anyway. I mean, it's the thing to do.
But what does it mean? You ought to use up your electricity rather than banking it?
Well,
Tell it to someone, come over and take a shower in my house. Out of power, come to Wendy's.
right.
No, it doesn't work when you're out of power. That's the problem. There's no battery.
For about 10 years, when I had an apartment in an old brownstone in New York City, and my apartment was on DC current, if you can imagine,
Oh
but the
my.
hall was on AC current. So I drilled a hole through the wall and screwed this thing into a light bulb in the hall, and I could run all of my AC, like my turntables and all that stuff, in my apartment at the building owner's expense. So I loved it. And I hung this wonderful big tapestry over the whole rig, so you could never see what was going on there. So I know how you do that. Yes.
Tut, Wendy.
This is a recording here, Wendy.
Right.
That's right.
Now everyone knows.
And I've been out and licked the street again just to check.
Awesome.
That's just for Melissa.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's gonna be a lot of salt on the road tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, so our last item is, and I don't wanna go out with a fizzle, but I think this is a fizzle. I don't really think there is an update on the siting council and the cell tower,
Move on.
nothing
Nope.
Nothing since our
okay.
last meeting. So, so just in keeping with that, I will not reiterate anything. And we have no new business. And I think we covered the Connecticut Recycling Conference already. So,
I move
teams
we
to
close.
close after just
Move
an
we
hour and a half.
adjourn?
We'll see each other in an hour and I mean, in
And
a
then
week.
Jean did not end up joining us. So next month, we'll find, and maybe before next month, we'll keep our ears open about what's going with the glass, but we'll revisit that next month.
Okay.
Good.
Good. All right.
Okay.
I
we
move-
Thank you, everyone.
Do we have to
8:03.
move to adjourn?
Second,
Stay
yes,
safe. Oh, yeah,
8:03.
definitely. All
Wait
in
a minute, you-
favor?
Who moved? You did, Melissa?
I did.
Liddy did, and I
Liddy.
seconded. Doesn't need a second. 8:03.
Hey, what if somebody votes against? We keep going.
Okay.
All in favor?
It's
aye.
dinner time.
No idea.
Dinner
Okay,
time.
fun, bye.